Hello Internet, Nathan here, and today I would like to talk about a topic that I'm sure many of us are quite familiar with, and that is burnout. Now, burnout is something I've dealt with a number of times in my life, and over the years I've learned a number of ways to make the best of it and to use it to my advantage. Now, the term burnout has negative connotations to it, especially in today's society where we're expected to work and achieve and be productive, contributing members of human society. So it might sound kind of strange when I say use burnout to my advantage. But what I mean by that is how with the right mindset, burnout can actually be a good indication that it's time to get back in touch with what drives you to do what you do, and what inspires you individually, and how potentially it could be a sign that you may want to shift directions, either a little bit or potentially significantly, to follow a different path that you find more fulfilling and meaningful in the long run. Now, I like art, so I'm going to spend the remainder of this video drawing while I discuss the lessons I've learned about burnout. So feel free to grab your own art supplies, draw along with me, or find whatever other activity you feel helps you unwind and get into a good headspace. Okay, so rule number one when it comes to burnout is don't ignore the burnout. If you're struggling to meet even the most simple of responsibilities that you used to be on top of, you may be burnt out. If you're consistently waking up in the morning, dreading the responsibilities that you have ahead of you, you may be burnt out. And if you struggle to visualize any kind of fulfilling future for yourself on your current path, you may be burnt out. Now, to be clear, these aren't the only signs and symptoms of burnout, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube and on other websites on the topic. The point that I wanted to emphasize is that if you ignore your feelings of being burnt out and you continue to work and push yourself beyond your capabilities, that's a recipe for even worse mental health challenges down the road. I often think of motivation as if it were a fuel tank. When we're burnt out, we're running on empty. We're trained to think that we need to look externally to refill our tanks. If I just work harder to get that promotion, then I'll feel more motivated again. If I get more recognition for my hard work from my family, then I'll feel more motivated. Once I'm filthy rich, then I'll feel motivated. While this may sometimes be the case for meeting short-term goals, the fact of the matter is that we need to find most of the fuel within ourselves to keep us going in the long run. Rule number 2 for dealing with burnout is to create some internal silence so you can identify what you want for yourself. External expectations are loud. Your internal drive, on the other hand, is typically much more quiet. What I mean is that you need to separate your own drive from the pressure put on you by others. If you fill your motivational fuel tank with others' expectations, burnout is inevitable. I think this is why those of us who are millennials struggle with burnout so often. It really makes sense considering that so many of us have spent the first 20 plus years of our lives following a narrow path created for us by our parents. It's as if we've been living all that time on a conveyor belt. To get back in touch with your own sense of direction, start by identifying all the empty things you tell yourself you should do and commit to letting go of them. Ask yourself if the should reflects something you want for yourself, or if it stems from a sense of pressure to please other people in your life. So let's say you're telling yourself that you feel like you should be making more money. Are you telling yourself this because you're struggling to afford your desired lifestyle? Do you want to save money for something personally meaningful? Or are you telling yourself this because you feel inadequate in the eyes of others due to your current income? If you're pressuring yourself beyond your capabilities to continue at a job you hate, while you have the means to take several months off, ask yourself why. Are you afraid of letting others down? Is it worth it to continue down an unfulfilling path just to keep others happy? Why does their happiness matter more than your own? Ask yourself if you can imagine staying on your current path for another year, or even more. Are you burnt out because you've been working hard and you need a break? Or do you need to move on to something else? Only you can answer for yourself. Rule number 3 for dealing with burnout is to make time for activities that bring you joy. Once you let go of the pressures and expectations of others, you can give yourself permission to explore what really drives you. What's something you've always wanted to do that you've been putting off? Consider giving it a try. If not now, when? When you're starting afresh, you'll need to get out of your comfort zone to move forward. For those of you who are young, consider it this way. If there were ever a time in your life when you could take big risks, it's most likely while you're still young and have many years ahead of you to learn and recover from failure. Do you want to look back when you're older and regret the opportunities you never took? Fear of failure is often just the fear of disappointing others in disguise. Here are a couple final tips. Remember that we're all on our own journeys. People in your life can be quick to offer you advice, but what worked for them may not really work for you given your own circumstances. Don't be discouraged if others' advice doesn't work for you. You're not trying to follow their path, you're trying to find your own direction, right? Lastly, don't be afraid to figure out all of this and what you want by trial and error. Figuring out what we want for ourselves is really just a process of elimination sometimes. When you find out what's right for you, you'll know. When we're burnt out, we're often told that a break or a vacation is all we really need to get going again. This may be the case for some people who are working hard at something they already find fulfilling, but if you don't take your time off to reflect on why you're doing what you're doing, you may be setting yourself up for another burnout. You see, finding purpose and meaning in what we do is a lifelong process. Our goal is not to find some perfect path that will allow us to live the rest of our lives on autopilot. Our goal is to fuel ourselves with internal motivation so that we can find more fulfillment in the long term. In the end, burnout is really just an opportunity to get in touch with ourselves in ways that we haven't done in the past. I'm still learning a lot of this as I go, but I hope some of the insights that I managed to collect for this video were helpful to some of y'all out there. I know burnout is pretty common nowadays, and it's likely always been common to a certain extent. I just feel like life isn't really supposed to feel like a giant to-do list that we're supposed to just check off all our responsibilities from day to day and then go to bed and repeat everything the next day. Part of me just wants to believe that there's something out there for all of us that's just a bit more thrilling than that, you know? But anyways, if you like this video, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have many exciting ideas for future videos, so be sure to stay tuned for more. And until next time, do what feels right. Take care.